There is a character that was introduced a long time ago, and as his role as the main antagonist, it's done. Where I think that Sir Crocodile, former warlord of the sea, was introduced in the story way earlier than he should have been. And I tell people a lot of times I have the motto of look it up yourself because, well, you can't necessarily rely on everybody's information to be accurate. I know a lot of people say, oh, this author said this author said that, but they don't provide actual evidence. And what I like to do, I try to include as much as I can, whether it's the actual source from the manga, whether it's an interview, SBS, stuff like that. I try to put it on the screen as best I can. If I can never find it, then I tell you guys, take it with a grain of salt. But I do remember, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. I do remember a long time ago reading somewhere or seeing something that Oda said he regrets introducing Crocodile so early on in the story. And if this statement is true, whether it is or whether it isn't, I do think that Crocodile was introduced early. I think that in terms of writing and influence and all of that, Crocodile is definitely a top 2 villain in the story. Now, I think Blackbeard, I think Akainu, that they could probably surpass him, and Emu, depending on their role in the story. I think right now Doflamingo's number 1, and Crocodile is a close number 2. And the reason why I have Doflamingo number 1 is because he is really fleshed out. We've seen his backstory with him being a fallen celestial dragon, and the different things that he went through, leaving the celestial dragons, being bullied, all of that stuff. And so since we don't know anything about Crocodile, it just makes me not necessarily resonate with his character as much. But Crocodile, he is my favorite character, well, my favorite villain in One Piece, and I'm gonna talk about it. If you guys enjoy regular anime content, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a new video. With that away, my name's Potential Unleashed, and let's talk about Sir Crocodile. Crocodile was the first former, well, I guess technically at the time he was a warlord, but he was the first warlord that we're introduced to or that we encountered. And well, now we know that they're abolished, but that's a story for another day. Crocodile, he was feared. Like I said, we did not know about the warlords yet. I'm pretty sure Nami had some idea, I think Zoro as well, but in terms of Luffy, he had no clue who they were. And so Vivi and Nami and all of them explained it to us, where he was on a different level from characters that we say so far. Buggy, Kuro, Krieg, Arlong. Their bounties compared to Crocodile's, they were like chump change, because Crocodile, his bounty was 81 million and it was frozen, and his bounty should have been way higher than what it was. And we know he got a new one, but I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Now, comparing his frozen 81 mil bounty compared to Luffy 30 mil, that's a 51, or what's that, 49 difference. Or my math might be off. I think it's 51. But anyway, so the fact that his bounty was that much of a stretch compared to Luffy, it just shows how dangerous he was. And like I said, if it wasn't frozen, who knows what it would have been. Warlords, them being the government dogs, it shows that, hey, they do work for the government, but at the same time, the government does not want to have to go against them. That's why they became, or gave them the opportunity to become warlords of the sea. I could definitely understand why Crocodile was so feared throughout the seas, because in terms of influence, he's definitely top 3. I mean, he has so many connections with the underworld, with bounty hunters, and a lot of other pirates. Besides Doflamingo and besides Shanks, who else has influence like he does? And I guess you could say besides Luffy as well, and maybe besides the Yonko, because he's not a Yonko. But yeah, Crocodile, he definitely has some of the most influence in terms of the antagonists that we've experienced. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Crocodile, he is definitely smart, but he also had smarter people working for him. For example, Nico Robin, in his search to try and get Pluton. Nico Robin, she can read the poneglyphs, and we know her being an archaeologist and how much she reads, how knowledgeable she is. But Crocodile, he was smart enough to make connections to able to achieve and obtain her in order to work for him. And I just want to give you guys some advice. This isn't necessarily just about One Piece, but in the world in general. A lot of powerful and rich people are like this. Book smarts is not the end all be all. It's good to be smart, but a lot of people who have a lot of influence is because of the connections they make. That's why college, people will say, hey, college isn't for everybody. It's not, but whenever you make different connections, that's how you get jobs. And so Crocodile, he displays this perfectly. He was technically, I guess you could say, after the king, King Vivi's dad. I don't remember his name. I was about to botch up. I think his name was Cobra. I was about to botch up her name. But he was technically the ruler. But then Crocodile, what he did allowed him to be, I guess you could say, the ruler of Alabasta. Everyone viewed him as a savior. He framed Vivi's dad, framed Cobra, and he got rid of the water. We know that he has the Suna no Mi, or the San fruit, which is a Logia with the weakness of water. So he got rid of the water in order to rule the kingdom. It makes sense. If you want to rule over a sand kingdom and your devil fruit power is sands, you bet you would want to get rid of all the water. And I'll talk a little bit more in detail about why water is his weakness. But he's also the leader of Bear Works, has a lot of bounty hunters who work under them who are strong. And the Straw Hats going against Bear Work, it was an extreme diff fight. And we know how strong Bear Work is because they tried to recruit Zoro. We know how strong he is. So if they want to recruit him and he struggled against Mr. One, that only shows, hey, their boss is probably stronger than him. Just shows how great Crocodile really is. Yeah, this was the Straw Hats' first challenge. The Grand Line was way more challenging than anything we've ever experienced. There's the different type of seas that, people don't go to the Grand Line because they're scared of it. Then the Grand Line, in terms of strength, is very strong, very powerful. A lot of pirates are scared of that. And even after that is the New World, where people think that the Grand Line is like a piece of cake compared to the New World, because that is where most of the Yonko reside. In terms of the Grand Line, different warlords, we have Crocodile, Moria, and Hancock. They were in the Grand Line, and then in the New World, Doflamingo and Jinbei. And I want to say Mihawk a little bit. Mihawk was more of a free roamer, but still. So going against Crocodile for the first time, Luffy, he did not have Haki, and this was his first time going against a warlord, where even Zoro was a bit worried. He was training on top of the crab, and Sanji was like, yo, are you scared? Are you worried about Luffy? Because yeah, this is Luffy's first time going against a pirate of this caliber. So Luffy going against Crocodile challenged him in the desert, where, well, we know what happened. Luffy went all out, and Crocodile kind of ragdolled him, like just low diffed him. Didn't even matter. He stabbed him, left Luffy to die in the sand. Then we had rounds 2 and 3. Luffy figured out how Crocodile's fruit worked and figured out the counter, knowing that any liquid or any natural counter to a devil fruit is how, not having Haki, that's how you're able to do it. So liquid allows sand to be hardened. You can touch it, it becomes more solid. So that is how he was able to go blow for blow with Crocodile. So in round 2, they went back and forth, but at the end of that clash, Crocodile gained the upper hand and drained Luffy. Then Luffy got back up for round 3. They were underground, still going at it. Luffy was poisoned. Crocodile was taking a lot more damage than he expected. Luffy ended up putting him through the floor up in the sky. Everybody saw him, and Luffy, he ended up being unconscious for a few days after the fight. Crocodile and Luffy went all out, and Crocodile forced Luffy to an extreme diff fight, the first one we'd ever seen Luffy experience in this series. I want to talk about Marineford a little bit because we know Crocodile wanted revenge on Whitebeard, and the reason for this is he lost to Whitebeard and left the New World. In terms of losing, think on the level of Shanks doing Kid 30. That's how bad it was for Crocodile. So that's why he wanted to go to Marineford. That's how he wanted revenge. Also want to talk about him and Ivankov really quickly. There's a lot of rumors about what the secret that Ivankov knows about Crocodile. I've seen a lot of theories. The most popular one is probably that Crocodile was once a woman and Crocodile ended up turning him into a man, and that he's Luffy's mother. I don't think that's what it is, but I just wanted to mention that. But guess what? At Marineford, Crocodile, he showed his strength. And if he could do this at Marineford with all these powerhouses, I don't know how he ended up losing to Luffy. I guess technically the series is 2-1 Crocodile, but I guess Crocodile won the battle but lost the war because he ended up losing to Luffy, losing the country Alabasta anyway. But hey, so at Marineford, he ended up clashing with Mihawk, clashing with Doflamingo. Clashes don't mean anything necessarily, but still, he did want to mention that. He was able to withstand an attack from Jozu like it was nothing. He stopped Ace from being executed, and he even used his Dofra in order to prevent Akainu from killing Luffy. So it just shows, hey, he's stronger than the last time that we seen him in the story. So what has Crocodile been doing? He's been gaining different companions, different people to assist him in order to make a comeback. And the biggest thing that we've seen him do in the story is forming cross guilds with Draco Mihawk and Buggy the Clown, where now the Navy, they have bounties on their head. Think of it like in Dressrosa, how the different Straw Hats and different alliances that was working with them, Doflamingo put a bounty on them, where it had 100, 1 star was 100, all the way to 5 stars was 500 mil. So the stronger you are, the more dangerous you are, the higher your worth. And there's also crowns. We don't know exactly how much crowns are worth, but they definitely are worth more than stars. And because of this, because of the influence and cross guilds, Crocodile's new bounty, no longer frozen, he has a 1.9 billion berry bounty. So yeah, after all this, I'm kind of upset that Crocodile was introduced as early as it was, but at the same time, if he wasn't, maybe I would not have been interested in One Piece like that, because I think he did his job of being a really good villain for Luffy and the others to overcome once entering the Grand Line. He's smart, very capable, has a lot of influence, and he's displayed that, hey, he can go toe-to-toe with the best of them, as he defeated Luffy twice, plus all the stuff he did in Marineford. Like I said, he has a lot of influence, especially what he has established with Mihawk and the others with cross guilds, and I can't wait to see what he has in store for the rest of the story. But let me know how you guys feel about Sir Crocodile in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video from my Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. It's on the screen in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.